Hey guys, I'm Kate. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to my 9-step prep plan in order to try and write an entire novel in 24 hours. If you are like, why would anyone be crazy enough to try this challenge? I will not be alone. I will leave a link down below about my announcement and also to resources for the hashtag 24-hour novel. Okay, what are my 9 steps? Thank you for asking. The first few steps kind of all go along at the same time, but we're gonna go ahead and say that step 1 is to reread the entire last draft, the first draft, of the story that I had. I'll be working on a closet full of cauldrons, and my sort of sub goal within this 24-hour novel is to actually create a readable, enjoyable second draft. That is what I want the most. So if step 1 is to read through the entire story that I had, about 30,000 words or so, then we'll say that step 2 is to work backwards from there as I construct a timeline. A Closet Full of Cauldrons is a mystery, a cozy fantasy mystery, yes. And the thing with mysteries is that you must have clues as to who done it. Clues that don't make it too obvious, but clues that also allow the reader to sort of guess along the way, that make it satisfying in the end. Now, I'm gonna be utilizing Aeon Timeline to really like have everything that I need in one central place to make sure that the clues are cluing and that I have not worked myself into any plot holes. And then step 3, let's say, but kind of all together, is that I want to set up my Scrivener doc entirely using the new timeline, because I did create a little bit of a timeline before with the last draft, but we're gonna do an entirely new timeline. And I want to set up my Scrivener document to have like beat by beat snippets, everything I could possibly need, so that when I'm trying to write like crazy in 24 hours, there will not be any disruptions. There will not be any questions about what I need to write. There will not be anything preventing me from this. Now, that's what this video is going to be all about, but before we move on to me telling you what the other steps are, let us do some deleting. Now, recently I set up all of the characters and locations, but all of these events were actually previous events. So you know what we're going to do? Ooh, let's move to the spreadsheet view and, oh, are we ready for the drama? Delete item. Ah! It's a free story now. Ugh. Nothing on the timeline. Okay, so the reason that I said that all of these like steps, these initial steps are kind of merged together is because what I want to do before I reread is actually take my timeline and create events out of the things that take place before the story even starts. Like the culprit stealing the cauldron from the main character's ex, the culprit then creating the curse, and then also placing the cauldron into the mayor's manor. So those are like 3 important steps that transpire before the like on-page action even starts. And I just want to make sure that I have that time exactly right, as curses are wont to do. You know, we like a little drama with them, you know? So I need to figure out exactly how many days before the curse is like fully effective. It needs to take 3 bodies. It needs to kill 3 people. And so it is really just time to put the events on here. A blank slate. Now that I've gotten over the drama of deleting it all, it feels quite nice. Feels freeing. As writers, it sometimes feels weird to hit that backspace or delete button, but like ultimately, you know, that's what we gotta do sometimes. Now, when do I want this to take place? Right around spring. So if spring is, we'll say Monday, March 20th of this year, we'll pretend it is 2023 that it is taking place. Backtrack. All right, we've made it to Eva's first day of work, which is the point that the story starts, really. You can see that I have 1, 2, 3, 4 events really that take place before then, which is quite fun. And so far I have successfully filled out, like for each of these, the observers, the participants, and the location. You will notice that none of these characters are named. That does need to change. Ooh. Ah. It is fun seeing my main character have like absolutely nothing to do with this. And now before we start reading, I think it is time for a quick break for a different kind of reading. Delicious Dungeon. It's eat or be eaten, literally. How cute. Okay. I'm very excited. Oh my god. Adorable. The dragon on the plate. Rank down. This is adorable. So our local Whataburger, maybe like all Whataburgers, got bought out by a different company. And since then, I have been getting like non-stop coupons from them. So I've had lots and lots of free burgers. However, our local Whataburger also takes like forever to bring you the food, which is fine. But like, that's why manga with me. I do love that we've already added a fun character. So cute. One day I'm gonna do a video just from y'all's point of view, where it shows me only working, but y'all just laying here. You know? All right. To the timeline. Walk and shower done. Water acquired. Let me show you what I've done so far. I have briefly read through, really skimming is what I would say, the collection of like not only what I actually have, but also the scenes where I've made copious notes about through the B story where the X shows up. So I have then set up and broken down everything into chapters. What I still need to do is actually put the description for everything in, but like this was my internal check of what needs to change so far from what we have and also what's going to be staying the same. So now that I have the chapters broken out, I'm going to go and move it over here to the timeline and I'll be able to include the description and the characters. So there's going to be a little bit of copy paste once I actually get it written. And if I could get all the way through to the B story with that, that's about the 20% mark and where we get the introduction to the X character, that would be phenomenal, especially as to really kickstart the fun and games bit, we have our first death. And because we then have the first death is also when I want to start going backwards just to make sure again that the clues are cluing. I do have some clues in the setup, like through the first little bit of the story. So that's really exciting, but in some ways this beginning part is always going to be pretty much the same. It's really when we get into where the clues need to happen, when we eliminate people from possible suspicion, that is going to be interesting, and just again making sure that all that is where it needs to be. But first we gotta get through Act 1. Yay. That is all the way through to just before the B story. That's breaking into 2. And then X arrives, and then we get to learn more about the curse. Oh. In that time, I also completely finished my first water. So you know what that means? Now what I need to do is take what I have here, all of these summary description, and move it right here. And then what I want to do is take the last draft and copy and paste any cute moments into here. Yes. What do you think of that plan? She says it sounds okay. Now I think there is actually a way to take the Aeon timeline and import it into the Scrivener document, but I have looked it up a couple times and I can't quite figure it out. And also something about the repetition often helps me solidify exactly what the story is going to be, and as I tinker around with it, so I don't mind doing this little bit. I can understand that it's not like the most efficient way, but also like, does storytelling need to be efficient? So for the copy and paste magic, I have picked out 1,299 words that I think should more or less stay. So you'll see part of it are still like in all caps. I did have one scene though where I had 2 options kind of. I'm trying to figure out, I know where the character's relationship is going to end up. I know where it's actually going to be even like 25% of the way through. They're going to be like allies and they're going to be close friends in the end of the book. But like, I'm trying to figure out exactly where I wanted to start off at, and the way I'd written it, I'd written the scene basically twice. So I had 2 options and I actually like both. So the question's gonna be, can I somehow take 1 + 1 and create something even better? Or do I just need to pick one? Or do I need to scrap it entirely and start over? While I ponder this though, it is time for my freaking self-love journal. Day 6, who's ready? Me. Not me, but it's fine. I guess I should also change this. I don't know how helpful this is when I only change it like every 2 days. I don't know if you can see that. Hurt my finger when I was crocheting the other day. I literally like stabbed myself with my own nails, so you know, they're strong. I guess that's the plus side. Friday. Done. Zelda, is it time for food? Is it time? Waddle, 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 waddle. Go ahead, girls. Good job. All right, we started with coffee, we're ending with coffee. Did you forget that there was a 9-step plan during this, or was that just me? And how obvious was that? It wasn't until I was going back to edit this video that I was like, oh yeah, that's what I was supposed to be talking about. But I am like a third of the way through now. Steps 1, 2, 3, all smushed together. On that Twitch stream, I actually ended up completely rewriting that scene I was talking about where I was like, it's the introduction to the characters. Where do I want these 2 to be the first time they're meeting? And so I scrapped it, I started over, but it was melding of the 2. And I think it's actually pretty great. And then on that same stream, I actually went to a point later in the story as I was kind of copying, pasting bits and bobs over. I was able to copy and paste almost an entire scene, like word for word, which is phenomenal. I love that. That's where the X, comes in. We realize that he's not so much missing as like purposely missing because his cauldron has been stolen and it's like a pride thing, but also the cauldron is dangerous. So it's just fun shenanigans, really. So as of right now, I have 4,646 words that have been copy and pasted over. So if I had to guess, probably by the end of this, I'll be at like 10,000 words as my starting number for the 24-hour novel, which is fine. Like, there's no problem with starting with words. All I want is to be able to write through the 24 hours with no problems, right? And that I have the story entirely figured out and I'm not having to stop because I wrote in one direction and then now there's the scene and now it doesn't work. Like, that is the only thing I don't want. And so I think it's actually coming together pretty nicely. And I've started working on the fun and games bit for the timeline. So again, like I said, I'm going back and forth on it a bit. And I've thought more about it, but I really don't think art needs to be the most straightforward path. It is okay if my prep plan looks kind of wonky and weird. But speaking of that prep plan, obviously steps 1, 2, and 3 still need to be like done through the entirety of the story, but I'm actually going to be working from a different location for the next week. So I think that's probably where I'll finish that activity. Maybe have a little bit more when I'm home, but ought to be fine. So then step 4 is actually going to be researching and finding the perfect voice to text app and the upload situation for while I am walking around and writing. I would love to have periods where I can dictate. One of the things I've had over the past like year or so is a really big problem with like my eyes and the strain and then causing migraines if I am like zeroed in on my screen for too long. So I found that if I just get up and take more breaks for a little bit longer, it helps. And it would be great if I could do that while still writing, right? And if I know exactly where the scene's going to go, exactly how it's going to progress, it should be easy to dictate. That is my hope. So I've used Google before, like Google Docs. I've used Voice Memo, which actually works okay. I do that when I get ideas while I'm driving. Actually, the best part is you can hear it over the road noise, which is good. But I'd love to find something that I can more easily like dictate, upload, and then have it all typed out for me. Since that's going to be quite a bit of research, that is a whole step in itself. Then the next step is days before, within the week leading up to the 24-hour novel. So, you know, like the 12th to the 16th of June, I need to be gathering food, snacks, a plethora of drinks. Something about having a different thing to drink over the course of an hour or like a new drink each hour really makes a difference for me in these long challenges. I have learned through experience. And the day before, I want to go on a really long like run, walk, maybe like continue my progress in trying to clean up the backyard, because just something that like physically exhausts me so that I kind of just want to sit and lounge all day. The other part of these big challenges is that I just get tired of sitting, frankly. I just need to move, I need to do something. So I'll often change like rooms a lot and that helps, but like something about the physical act of sitting for that long is a pain. And I do have a standing desk, which I will break out and use. And I do have a bike that I can use, but ultimately like if I'm tired, that will make it a lot easier. Step 7 is to create extra rewards for myself for after the challenge in order to celebrate. So I don't know if it's like I want to assign certain milestones. I don't know if I want to assign like you survived and a reward for that, but like, yes, I want something so that I can look forward to it besides just the knowledge, the sense of accomplishment, which will get me through a lot, but like an extra little reward, I would not be too mad at, you know? Also the day before, I want to set up Twitch, Patreon, and YouTube sprints. I will be streaming for the weekend relay that is happening that same weekend, so it works out really well, on Saturday morning. So that's probably when I'm gonna start my 24-hour novel experiment. But then from there, I'd like to set up, you know, some Twitch, Patreon, YouTube stuff, but maybe playing it a little bit by ear based off of, again, where my eyes are at. And then step 9, this is a little bit of a cheat. Step 9 is to write a novel in 24 hours. Quite literally do the experiment. Other steps that are more half steps and not like really big things is I'd love to make a playlist. I would like to have some ideas for some shows running in the background, like Gilmore Girls or like Wednesday and stuff like that, where I can just have it on the other screen so that I stay in the vibe. But I did not add those to my original list and we're pretending there's only 9 steps now. Please do comment down below. Let me know what you think of making a timeline for your story. Does that help you in your process? Let me know where along the process for you create things like playlists or kind of inspiration pieces for your story that you'll also use throughout writing your story. And let me know what you think about this idea about art needing to be or not needing to be efficient. I think, not that I'd say they're antonyms, but when I think of art, I don't think efficiency, you know? So let me know if you have anything within your like entire writing process that you're like, I know this is technically double work, or I know this isn't like the fastest way to do something, but that it's just what works for you. Yeah, that's gonna be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all very soon with a new one. Bye.